So here's what we're going to cover today. Number one, we're going to cover why most men don't get the results they want online. And we're going to cover the main reason why that is and how to fix that. Number two, we're going to cover how to adopt Instagram as your number one digital seduction tool. So Instagram needs to become your main lead generation source online. If right now you're over reliant on Tinder or Bumble or all of that, you're doing it wrong. Now, number three, we're going to cover how perception is reality and how to harness the right perception so that you can communicate your value properly online. Now, number four, we're going to cover how to keep a cool head and look at the numbers instead of panicking and instead of worrying or just being in your head and giving up, you know? And then number five, we're going to cover the IG Playboy routine for consistent success. So what's the exact routine that's going to make you successful with Instagram and online dating? All right, so let's dive in. So the strongest blockage that's keeping you from getting success with women on Instagram and online is pretty much inside your head. And trust me, I've been there myself. Now, the reason why you don't get a ton of results with Instagram is because you don't truly believe that it works. Maybe you've never done it before, or you've done it in the wrong way. And I didn't believe it too. Like at first, I thought Instagram was just an app where you upload a few pictures and you upload your memories, and that's pretty much it. Until I started learning the proper systems and actually getting dates consistently with Instagram. And I learned from, a famous promoter in Paris who used to be my mentor, because at some point I was doing promoting, like I was basically bringing girls to venues and getting paid for it. And I learned this whole method pretty much from my mentor, which is one of the biggest promoters in Paris. But I've also learned from many other guys and from experimenting myself with my own, systems and etc. Because once you develop kind of the core foundations when it comes to Instagram and everything, then you can experiment and you can find what works for you. And personally, I've experimented with a lot of things, and there's a lot of subtleties that I'm going to teach you in this program. Now, you need to understand one thing is that the method that I'm going to share with you works, period. Like I'm using it consistently myself, and all my clients around the world are getting results with it. So for example, the first screenshot is from my client, Kevin. And he says, like, it's been a while since I've called DMs, etc. But now with Instagram, since I fixed my Instagram, I'm getting, 2 dates a week this weekend, blah, blah, blah. And also my client, Gavin, he says, I have 3 or 4 dates this week with hopefully a few more to schedule. It's only Monday. So listen, it works if you do the work, okay? Now, the first thing is you gotta kill your limiting beliefs. So many guys tell me, but I'm not photogenic or I'm not good looking enough to do well online, so maybe it's not gonna work for me. Well, here's the thing. You don't need looks. You need cool angles, good clothing, and good backgrounds. So if you are standing in cool places and you're dressed well and the angle of the photo looks right and it's high quality, well, even if you're not that good looking, the photo is going to look great. And that's what matters. Now, obviously, looks can help. Being jacked can help. All of these things can help. But you don't need that, okay? I have plenty of clients who are not necessarily super good looking, but they're doing really, really well online because they know how to position themselves. Now, number two, I don't have a flashy lifestyle and my real life isn't that interesting anyways. This is a big one. A lot of guys tell me that. A lot of guys tell me, I don't go out much, I work, so I don't know if it's going to be that interesting if I start posting. Well, here's the thing. It's not about flash. It's just about branding. It's about framing your life a certain way with intention in a high status way. And you don't need to be this, crazy influencer and spending all your time on Instagram, okay? It's just about setting up your digital footprint the right way and framing your life the right way so that when people search you online, they can have a bit of context about who you are, basically. They want to figure out, okay, who is this guy? What is this guy up to? Does he live a cool life or not? And women are going to stalk you online. Now, the third limiting belief is that, Limo, I'm 50 right now, I'm 40 years old, I'm 60, whatever age, like even guys in their 30s, they tell me, oh, I'm too late to the game, you know? I don't know if that's for me, blah, blah, blah. And also, I don't want to look like an influencer. That's not me, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the thing. You're not trying to be an influencer. You're just building digital social proof. Because, listen, nowadays, even if people want to work with you, or even if people want to hire you, they want to check your socials. Like, they want to check how you conduct yourself online and how you live your life, you know? Before hiring someone, I'm going to check their social media personally. Or before working with someone, let's say I want to work with a new, I don't know, social media manager or a new video editor. Well, preferably he has an Instagram that I can check, and I can check how he looks like, you know, because I want to kind of have an idea of who that person is. So it's super important to have, you know, some type of online presence, especially nowadays. Now, the other thing is a lot of guys tell me, oh, but Limo, social media is too toxic. I don't have time to post or build my online presence. This is a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. I have things to do. Well, here's the thing, man. If you're not visible, you're invisible. I repeat, if you're not visible, you're invisible. And you're also going to miss out on a lot of high quality opportunities on a daily basis. I can't tell you how many opportunities I've gotten with Instagram. Like, so many customers and clients came from that. So many women I've dated came from that. So many podcasts I've been on or podcasts I've hosted have been facilitated with Instagram, or even connections in general, networking. So you want to be a minimum visible. It's not like you need to spend 3 hours a day on Instagram. You can spend even 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day, or even some days you can spend 0 minutes. But at least, you know, a few times a week or once a week, and you got to be out there, kind of, you know, it depends on your goals, right? Like if you want to get dates, for example, with Instagram, you're going to have to put in a bit of work and text a few girls. If you want to just get some attention and views, then you're going to have to post content in some way. So it depends on your goals, whether it's generating attention on social media, generating dates, it depends. But in any case, no matter your intention with social media, you get out what you put in. You get out of it what you put in, like input, output. If you don't have the right inputs, you're not going to have the right outputs. So yeah, that's the thing. Now, another limiting belief is, oh, the right girl won't care about my Instagram. If she likes me, she'll like me for me. Well, listen, all women live in the same modern world as we do, as you do. And your Instagram is going to frame her impression of you, either in a good way or in a bad way. And a lot of women are not going to agree to necessarily meet you on a date if they don't see that you have like an Instagram. Otherwise, they're going to feel like, oh, maybe this guy is a serial killer. Maybe this guy is weird or whatever. I mean, right now, this is, you know, kind of mandatory to have sort of a presence. You know, you can't just be a ghost and not have any social media. It's weird. And a lot of women, it's also comfortable for them to know that, okay, yeah, this guy actually exists online. This guy is a real guy. It's not just some random guy I'm talking to. Now, if you meet them in real life at first, it's a bit different. But even in real life, women want to see how you look like online. I mean, it's important nowadays, and it's going to frame her impression of you as well. If your Instagram is set up the right way, she's going to look forward to meeting you again, and she's going to be kind of intrigued by you and even more interested. But if your Instagram looks like shit, then it might even, you know, diminish her level of interest. It's going to lower her interest. So now the limiting belief that I want to talk about next is a lot of guys say, oh, I'd rather meet women naturally and that's it. I don't need social media. You know, real life works for me, so I'll just do that. Well, number one, you don't want to be a one-trick pony, because so many guys are just one-trick ponies. Oh, I just do Tinder, that's it. Or, oh, I just do cold approach. I just cold approach at the mall. That's all I do and nothing else. Well, here's the thing. You want to be versatile, man. Like, because there's different parts of the market that you can tap into. And each part of the market can be interesting to tap into. I mean, if you only meet women through going to the mall, then you're only going to tap into a very, very niche subset of women who go to the mall. But then if you want to tap into maybe higher quality women who are maybe not in the mall that day, or they're not really going out much, and these are women you're not going to see on your average day-to-day life, then you need to tap into online, you need to tap into other pools. There's different pools, right? It's like, if you have a business, well, you can get customers on LinkedIn, but why not tap into YouTube as well? Why not tap into Instagram? Because I can guarantee you that, it's not going to be the same people who buy on LinkedIn than people who buy on Instagram, etc. Like, there's different audiences depending on which channel you use. So even with you, man, if you want to attract more women, you gotta have as many channels as you can. It's better to be multi-channeled. Like, you need to have a multi-channel strategy ideally. Now, obviously, like, at first you can focus on one thing, but then you want to diversify and you don't want to be a one-trick pony. Also, your Instagram is your second impression. Like, a lot of times I've met girls in real life and they weren't necessarily super interested, like super enthusiastic when they first met me. But then we exchanged Instagram, they saw my online presence, they saw my stories, etc. And all of a sudden their level of interest went up, and next thing you know, she reacts to my story, or she tries to arrange a date with me, or she looks a lot more interested than when I initially met her. So a lot of real life connections go online to verify your value. They're going to just go online to stalk you and verify that you're cool. And if you're actually the shit, even online, then it's going to increase their level of interest. So yeah, man, I mean, you got to kill those limiting beliefs. Fuck that shit. Now get on Instagram and stop bitching and stop having those fucking beliefs, okay? Because it's bullshit. Now, as everything in this program, there's a specific systemized input that will give you a predictable output. In every parts of the program, I always give you, things you got to do, actions you got to take, and those actions are going to lead to results. But the guys who don't get results with this program are the guys who don't take the right action consistently. Maybe they take the right action once, and then, they just let themselves go and they stop doing it. Like, they do that once and then they stop. But you have to put in the work consistently if you want to get the right results. Now, I want to talk about how nowadays women actually live their life through Instagram. Like, most beautiful women wake up with their phone in front of their face, jump on their Instagram feed, and they do that first thing in the morning. Like, they just grab their phone, check Instagram. And most women view their online presence as equally important, if not more important, as their real life presence these days, because Instagram, for them, it equals dopamine, attention, opportunity, etc. And, nowadays, online can be even more important than real life in some ways, especially for some type of women. And yeah, you might say it's a sad reality, that's kind of the sad reality of, the Western society, or not even Western, even Eastern right now, like it's global now, that's the world we live in, and we live in a digital world. And nowadays, it's been reinforced. But you have to understand that Instagram means everything to hot girls, especially if they're on there, or some of them have a career on there. Like, literally, some of them, they get brand deals, or they do some UGC content, like user-generated content, where brands pay them to promote their products or whatever. And for them, like, it's literally their career for some girls, okay? And Instagram is a place for them to find new opportunities, to find their mates for dating. And it's also a highly addictive platform with a ton of things that are orchestrated for humans to receive a huge amount of dopamine. And engineers are working day in, day out on those platforms to make these platforms even more addictive and to keep the users in those platforms. Now, if they had to choose, I would say most women would rather have a high quality travel or lifestyle Instagram feed than actually go on that vacation themselves. Like, if they had to go on a vacation without being able to capture it for their profile, or actually fake it and just have that Instagram on their profile, have that lifestyle on their profile, then a lot of women would choose just faking it and having that Instagram feed, the travel lifestyle Instagram feed, rather than actually experiencing that in real life. Because for some of them, their online impression kind of matters more than real life. Now, knowing all that, what do you actually do? Do you actually cave in and lock yourself and go and just cut your balls off and go monk mode? Or are you going to capitalize on that like any smart man and take advantage of it and actually understand the rules of the game so you can play by them and get the desired outcomes? What are you going to do? Are you going to fucking bitch out? And are you going to be, just quitting and complaining about how the world became digital and how, everything is just sad? Or are you going to be like, okay, you know what? This is the new rules of the game. There's new opportunities to be made. There's new connections to be made. There's plenty of room for opportunities. So let me take advantage of that and let me do it in a smart way, right? So this is how you gotta think, man. So you gotta adapt. Now, your Instagram profile is like your portfolio, but to women. Like, they're gonna look at your Instagram and they're gonna decide, very quickly they're gonna decide within the first 3 seconds if they wanna interact with you or not. Like, women are gonna decide very, very quickly if they wanna be with you or not. And you have to understand that Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, Badoo, all these apps are mainly for low quality men and women, for low quality people in general. Like celebrities, people of high quality, the most influential people in the world will not be on fucking Tinder or Bumble, etc. It's mainly for normies who are usually low quality. But you can still find a dime out of a dozen who are actually pretty and cool and might be long-term material. But most girls on those dating apps are not long-term material, are just not it, So I would recommend mainly doing cold approach, real life, or Instagram, rather than dating apps. But you can use dating apps in a smart way, and I'm going to show you how. Now, Instagram, on the other hand, this is a platform where celebrities and highly influential people gather, share their thoughts, lifestyle, connect with each other. And Instagram is where high quality people hang out online. And very commonly, celebrities just slide into each other DMs and DM each other, So this is where people connect. Now, you can still find leads on Tinder and all the other apps, and I'm going to show you how. Like, you can still use them, but you have to know that it's mostly for lower quality leads. Like, the highest quality leads are going to be on Instagram. Now, I still use dating apps when I want to find like some fresh leads quickly, or when I'm traveling to a new city, then I can open up Tinder, find quick leads and just like save a bunch of time sometimes. But I use it as a tool to get some leads for Instagram. I don't use it as, my main thing, So the first thing you need to understand is that you need to get on Instagram starting today. If you're not on Instagram, consider that you don't exist to most women online, and you need to treat Instagram as valuable as real life, if not more important. And for online, what matters is no longer what you do and who you are, but rather who you pretend you are and what you appear to do. Because you have to understand that perception is reality. What people see is what people think online. And your life could be completely different than what people see online. But if they see the right elements, then they will associate you with that lifestyle. Now, Instagram is a game of perception. Instagram is the platform where men decide if you're worthy of respect and admiration, and where women decide if you're worth it and attractive. And perception is reality, as I said. You could be the biggest baller on earth and have an amazing lifestyle, but if it's inexistent online, if you don't display it, then it's inexistent, It's going to be inexistent. You got to display it. You got to show it. You can be the smartest individual. You can be the most handsome, but it doesn't matter if you don't have reach. It's not the best product that wins. It's the best known product. You got to get known. You got to get some eyeballs. You need to be positioning yourself the right way and gain reach. And you need to do that on a weekly basis, if not on a daily basis, if you're truly serious, especially if you're trying to run a business on Instagram. Now, if it's just for dating, that's fine. You don't need to do it every day. But yeah, you got to be serious about it and put in a bit of work consistently. And a correct Instagram presence will help you be perceived as attractive, high status, cunning, and in demand. And this would allow you to reach out to other quality women, other quality men, and it's going to become one of the most powerful tools for you to make new connections with women, with men, and network and make money online and get the girls you want online, everything. So using the right strategies that I'm going to show you, you can outshine most guys and you can really crush it online. And as I said before, when we talked about the limiting beliefs, your online perception affects reality. Like, another element is that once you've had an interaction with a girl in real life, and you exchange Instagram, she's gonna progressively associate you to your perceived online value. And she's gonna tend to forget your perceived value in real life. So literally, like, some girls will forget about the first impression they had of you in real life and will associate their new impression of you with your online presence. Okay, so a lot of women, and not just women, even other men will treat you differently if your online presence is on point and display the right things. That they're gonna literally treat you different when your online presence is on point and if you display the right things. So sometimes you're gonna meet women, for example, during the day, and they're gonna ask for your Instagram, or you're just gonna exchange Instagram. And if you don't have one, well, they'll find it suspicious. Like, what? How come you don't have Instagram? And some of them, you're gonna lose a bit of value in their eyes just for not being on the platform. Or it's gonna look super suspicious and weird. And same on dating apps. Most women will ask for your social media before agreeing to meet you in person. I have plenty of female friends that I've spoke with, and they told me, like, hey, you know, one of the first things I do when a guy asks me out is I ask for his Instagram. And if he's not there, or if his Instagram sucks, then I won't go on a date with you. They won't go on a date with the guy. Because Instagram is kind of a way to verify that you're legit and verify your value online, okay? So that's why sometimes if you have a good Instagram profile, you can afford to create an average first impression in real life, but still get girls chasing you like crazy just because of your Instagram feed. So your Instagram profile will dramatically impact your date conversion rate. Your date conversion rate is basically, you know, how many women you end up dating after you exchange, profiles, or after you've had a conversation. That's your date conversion rate. And sometimes not for the better. If your online presence sucks, then, you know, you're gonna convert a lot less on dates, you know. So yeah, you need to work on your Instagram. And women are big stalkers. Like, trust me, if they're into you, they're gonna try to find your Instagram or your Facebook. And if your profile sucks, I'd recommend straight up, just hide it, because you're gonna lose massive value by having a mediocre profile. You know, so from now on, it's all about the facade that you'll convey to the girls you meet and how you can improve that facade as much as possible, especially online. Now, obviously, you want to be full stack. You want to be the guy who has, you know, a good amount of finances. You want to be the guy who works out. You want to be the guy who consistently grows and is into personal development. Like, you want to literally be that guy. You want to be the guy who works on himself and who's a quality option. But at the same time, you need to understand that online perception is reality, and you need to portray a certain facade that appeals to your target market. So if you're just starting out with Instagram, just follow my exact step-by-step system, and you want to build your value at the same time in the shadow. And then you're going to be ready to kick ass and appeal to the hottest girls in your city. So if you're just starting out and you don't have any Instagram, start with the steps that I'm going to show you. Build your value at the same time. And then once your profile is ready and once you implement the systems that I'm going to show you, you're going to be able to really appeal to the hottest women in your city and be able to reach out to them and get dates with them and convert these conversations into romantic partners. Now, you must also understand that as Instagram has become the equivalent of normal life now, women are being approached online consistently. You know, they receive tons of male attention all day long. They have plenty of guys sliding into their DMs as well, or trying to have a conversation with them online. And so you should play the game as well. And don't feel weird about DMing a girl or whatever. There's nothing weird about it. It's completely normal now. And yes, there's more competition out there because you're not the only guy talking to her online, probably. But that just means, yeah, you need to stand out, you know, both in your profile and also in the way you text. And I'm going to show you how to stand out. So don't feel weird or sneaky about sliding into the girls' DMs or text girls online to grow your pipeline. It's totally normal nowadays. Like, women understand, like, hey, this guy, he wants to initiate a conversation with me online. Okay, let me give him a chance. You know, if his profile is great, let me see what's up. And most girls are okay with that. You know, some girls might ask you, oh, how did you find me? Or why are you texting me? I mean, it's very rare, but some girls might ask that. And I'm going to show you how to kind of counter that. If they tell you that, I'm going to show you how to reply to that. But women don't find it weird anymore that guys slide into their DMs. It's completely normal. So just take advantage of the game and reach out to new women online each week. Okay, if you're serious, you're going to do it each week. If you're serious about your dating life and you want to get like 1, 2, 3 dates a week. But even if you want to get a girlfriend at some point, the best way to get a girlfriend is to get as many options as you can so that you can pick the right one from a place of abundance. So a lot of guys think, oh, but I'm just looking for a girlfriend. I don't need to do it each week. No, you got to do it consistently so that you can go on dates consistently and actually pick the best women for you after you date a couple ones. You're not going to find the best women after the first date with a woman. Like you know, you got to just try many. And then you got to choose out of the many you have. You know, it's not like you don't want to wait or pick a woman out of scarcity. You want to really get options. That's the best way. Now, the other thing is keep a cool head and look at the numbers. You know, when you go about sliding into the DMs, you need to keep a cool head at all costs. Before you start complaining that it doesn't work or that, oh, you're not getting enough replies or whatever, keep a fucking cool head. Your results with the online system will mainly depend on two things, okay? How fast you improve your profile and implement what I show you, and how disciplined you are with texting new girls and following up consistently. So there's only two reasons why you're not getting fucking results. Either because you don't have the right profile and your profile sucks and you're not implementing what I show you, or you're not disciplined about reaching out to new women consistently. Maybe you've done it once, you've DM'd 30 girls and you saw that only 3 replied, and then you just gave up, right? But you don't understand the concept of regression to the mean, which means that, you know, if you DM 30 people, okay, maybe the first 20 people are going to say no, and then the last 10 are going to say yes. You know, regression to the mean is basically a concept where, you know, if you flip a coin, a lot of people think when you flip a coin, you know, one time is going to go on tails, one time is going to go on head, one time is going to go on tails, one time is going to go on head, and it's like evenly distributed. But it's not true. Like sometimes it could go on head, like 10 times before it lands on tails, you know? So, you know, sometimes you might send a batch of 20 DMs and you get 0 replies from all of them, which sucks. And another day you send a batch of 20 DMs and you get 15 replies. Because it's like, it's not linear. It really depends, you know. You need to have a big enough sample size to understand your average, because that's the concept of regression to the mean. So that's why you got to be disciplined about it. You got to do it consistently. Same thing with cold approach. You could cold approach 10 girls in a row, and maybe one day the 10 of them are not single. But then another day you cold approach 10 in a row and all of them are kind of interested in you for some reason. So it really depends. But if you do it consistently, then you can average in your results, you know. So that's the thing. Now your Instagram profile is like a business. It's gonna need momentum before it can run on automation and bring you hot girls consistently. If you've heard about the compound effect, well, it's exactly that. Like, it's going to compound over time. this is Warren Buffett's net worth. It started small, a couple thousands, then hundreds of thousands, then millions, and then now billions, It starts small. And same thing with your Instagram, At first, maybe you have one photo or you have 0 photos, and then you add 2 or 3 photos, and then 2 or 3 more, and 2 or 3 more. And same thing for stories. At first, you don't have any highlights, but then you start adding one highlight here, one highlight there, more stories, more followers. Also, over time, you're going to get more followers. And all of these things are going to help you get more and more conversions and more attention. And then it's going to compound. Like right now, when I post a story, I have hundreds of people who watch it. But before, when I started out, I had like 2 people looking at my story, literally. So it compounds. Same thing. Like before, I used to post a video and I would have like 10 views. And now, I post a video because I've built my audience and I kept showing up, where I have hundreds of views each time, at least hundreds of views, if not thousands. So you're going to need to work consistently on having cool pictures, having cool stories, more social proof, more pre-selection, more followers. And the more you increase these things, the more conversions and attention and all of that you're going to get, right? So view it as a long-term game, okay? Now, you can get results starting this week with Instagram, but also view it as a long-term game where you're going to keep investing in your personal brand, because everybody has a personal brand, whether they know it or not. And this is your personal brand. You want to keep investing in your personal brand online, because ultimately everything is moving online. Okay, so you gotta do that. Now remember that building an epic Instagram profile takes time and energy, but the better your profile becomes, the easier you're going to land dates, grow your social circle, grow your business if you have a business, everything. So if you're starting from scratch, at first, maybe you're not going to get a ton of results. But if you put some work into it, etc., I guarantee you're going to start getting dates consistently. By the way, I just want to interrupt this video for a few seconds to tell you that if you truly want to level up your dating life in the next few weeks or months, or for the rest of your life for that matter, then there's a video in the description. There's a link. You can click that link. You'll find a video that explains what we do. And then there's a calendar where you can pick a time with myself or my team. Now, all you have to do is pick a time so that we can discuss your own specific situation, your own unique goals, and then we can show you exactly how to get there with the right systems. So if you're serious, check out the link in the description. And without further ado, let's get back to the video. Now, there's a certain funnel when it comes to online, which we're going to cover. I call it the online dating funnel. And there's different steps, right? So there's the first step, which is a DM. You send a DM, you send a first message to the girl. That's the first step. Second step, either she converts into a conversation, so she actually replies to you, or she doesn't. If she doesn't, fuck her, on to the next. Just focus on the ones who do reply. Now, once you have a reply, then step 2 is the conversation. So you gotta move the conversation forward to be able to, build rapport and escalate things a little bit and agree on a meeting. And so then after that, you can take her contact. For example, what I do usually is if I text a girl on Instagram, then when we agree that we're gonna meet on a date, I then take her WhatsApp to basically follow up on the date. So I take her contact. And then after that, after you take her contact, you go on the date and then you close, right? That's kind of the funnel. Now, there's 2 metrics that matter for online, okay? The first metric is the conversation conversion rate. So this is known also as the initial response rate. That's the percentage of girls who reply to your first DM. So for example, if you send 10 DMs and 2 reply, then you have a 20% initial response rate. If you send 100 and you have 20, same thing, 20%. So to determine this metric, you gotta ask yourself, how many of the girls you DM actually answer to you? And that's your initial response rate. Now, the second metric is the date conversion rate. So the date conversion rate is the percentage of girls you actually manage to bring on a date from scratch after you message them. So ask yourself, how many of the girls who answer to you, who answer your initial message, actually show up on a date with you afterwards? So that's your date conversion rate. And this is gonna be improved by your profile, by the way you text, etc. And then you have the sex conversion rate. So this is basically how many women you end up closing the deal with, and sometimes it's not really in your control, but it's largely in your control if you set the right frame and the right expectations, and you know how to sexualize and escalate things properly. But sometimes, yeah, you gotta wait more. But listen, there's different conversion rates basically, and there's a sheet that we cover called the Dating Success Engineering Sheet, which is something you can find in week 2 of the Dating Accelerator program, which shows you exactly how to reverse engineer your dating success, basically online and in real life. There's 2 parts to this sheet. You can reverse engineer your real life cold approach efforts, and you can reverse engineer your online efforts as well. Now, if you want to increase the initial response rate, you need to improve your opening message, number 1, and you need to improve, above all, your profile. Okay, those are going to be the 2 things that are going to influence if a girl replies to your initial message. So either your opening message or your profile, like your pictures, your bio, your stories, your highlights, etc. If you improve those 2 things, then I can guarantee you your initial response rate is going to improve. Now, if you want to increase your DCR, which is your date conversion rate, then on top of having a good profile, you need to improve your texting skills. Because probably if a girl replies but doesn't convert into a date, then either she saw a big red flag on your profile, or your texting kind of sucks, or you didn't follow up properly, or all of that. Okay, so you got to improve these things. Now, the Dating Success Engineering Sheet, we can go over it real quick right now. All right, so let's cover actually the Dating Success Engineering Sheet when it comes to online dating. So this is the Dating Success Engineering Sheet. You can find it in the resources in week 2 or week 6 of my Dating Accelerator program. And this allows you to reverse engineer your success with women. There's two sheets, okay? So there's the live dating success sheet, and this is to reverse engineer your cold approach efforts within the next 30 days. And then there's the online sheet, which is for online. So now we're going to talk about online. So basically this sheet is just to reverse engineer how many DMs you got to send to be able to get to your target amount of women you want to date. Okay, so let's cover it right now. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit just to show you. So it's very simple. And basically all of that relies on some percentages. So, okay, let's say you want to target 3, you want to have like, not 5, okay, this is 5, but let's say 3, okay? Let's say you want to date like 3 new girls in the next 3 days, and not only date, but actually sleep with them. So let's say in the next 30 days, you want to sleep with 3 new girls, all right? Well, let's assume, okay, and this is just a normal number, that you have a 50% sex conversion rate after you go on a date or after you pull a girl. That means that for every date or every girl you pull home, you have a 50% chance of sleeping with her. Well, that means that if you want to get 3 girls you have sex with, then assuming you have a 50% sex conversion rate, that would mean you need to have 6 dates. So if you have 6 dates, normally you will fuck 3, right? Now to get those 6 dates, okay, let's assume that you have a date conversion rate after each conversation or interaction of 10%. So anytime you DM girls online, like let's say you DM 60 girls, right? Out of those 60 conversations, and it's not even initial message, it's like conversations. That means like they reply to your initial message. So let's say you have a 10% date conversion rate. Well, that means that for 60 conversations you have, you get 6 dates. Okay, for 60 conversations you get 6 dates. Now to generate those 60 conversations online, that means like women are actually replying to you. Then how many DMs would you have to send? Well, assuming you have, let's say, a 30% conversation conversion rate after a DM, that means like for every 100 DMs you send, 30 reply. Or let's say if you message 10 girls, only 3 reply. Well, that would mean that to get those 60 conversations, you would need 200 DMs. So if you send 200 DMs, you will get 60 conversations, like women are actually replying to you, which is going to lead to 6 dates, assuming you have a 10% date conversion rate, which is going to lead to you fucking 3 girls. Okay. And you can see here, there's also the number here, refresh, like the number of DMs needed per day. So you would need like 8 DMs per day to get to around 56 DMs a week to be able to get those 200 DMs per month sent. And this is per month, by the way. So it's like only 8 a day, or you do like around 50 a week. If you do 50 a week or 60 a week, I guarantee you, you're going to get at least like 2 new conversations per day or more per week. And you would get like at least 2 dates a week out of that. But this only depends on those percentages, because let's say your profile gets better and instead of a 10% date conversion rate, you have like now a 30% date conversion rate. Well, that would mean you'd only need 20 conversations to get to those 6 dates. And that would mean that you would only need to DM around, 60 girls per month to get to basically that amount, So yeah, but this is usually not the case. Usually it's more. Usually you're gonna have to do more. Okay. If you DM 20 a week if your profile is really good like mine, that's enough. Okay. But if you're just a beginner, 20 DMs per week might not lead to 2 dates a week. You will need more. Me, I can pull it off personally. I know. I've done it before. Even 10 a week. Sometimes I send only 10 DMs a week and I end up converting like 2 into 2 dates. But for a guy who's starting out, I would say your conversation conversion rate could be like 10%. And then your date, sorry, I need to put the percentage. That's why it's like, and then your date conversion rate might be, let's say 20%. Oops, sorry. I always put the percentage if you change the metrics, guys. 1 second, sorry. Yeah. So for most people, it will be more. Okay. So yeah, you just got to keep a cool head and look at the numbers, as I said. So here, for example, as you can see, like you need at least, let's say, if like you had a 10% conversation conversion rate, you would need to send around 80 DMs per week to get to basically like a few conversations a week and get to a few dates a week, right? On average, like 12 a day, okay? And 12 a day, honestly, sending 12 DMs a day, the way I'm going to show you, takes literally 10 minutes. Like literally, in 10 minutes, you can send 12 DMs. And you do it just once a day, and then you reply to the girls who reply to you. But you can also batch it in the weekend or whatever. But this basically reverse engineers your dating process, right? You just put how many women you want to have per month. And then you gotta try to see what's your average here. Like try to maybe track your metrics, like track one day, just track it for a month. Like if I send, 100 DMs, how many actually reply? Just track it. And then based on that, enter your numbers. Like if you send 100 DMs this week, track how many women actually reply to you. And that's going to be your conversation conversion rate. And then track how many of these women you actually go on a date with. And that's going to be your date conversion rate. But remember the concept of regression to the mean, because sometimes, you text 20 girls and all of them don't reply, but then another day you text 20 and the majority of them reply. So it depends. That's why you need to have a big enough sample size, like minimum 30 and ideally more than 100 to be able to assess and make like a real statistical, observation, let's say. So this is just to reverse engineer, and you have like your game plan here. So let's say you want to fuck 3 new girls in the next 30 days and you have those percentages here, like 1 out of 2 girls, you have basically 1 out of 2 chances of fucking a girl when you have a date or when you pool. Well, then that means you need like six dates on average. And then to get those 6 dates, well, how many conversations you need to get, and then how many DMs do you need to send to get to actually a point where you have an actual conversation online. So then you reverse engineer with those percentages, and you have your game plan here of how many DMs you need to send per week, how many DMs you need to send per day, how many conversations per day or per week, whatever, right? You have everything. So this is just to kind of keep a cool head and, you know, really set your expectations straight. Because if you think you're just going to send like 50 DMs a month, and that's going to be enough for you to date like 2-3 girls a week, then I'm telling you it's not. Like, especially if those are new girls, not like girls you've already seen, right? So you just need to keep a cool head and keep taking action. And it's like anything, you know, if you want to get dates with cold approach as well, you need to meet new girls every week in real life, right? And same thing online. It's the same thing. So this sheet is going to reverse engineer your success with women online, but also in real life. In real life too, I show you based on basically the percentages of what's your conversation conversion rate after a real life approach, what's your date conversion rate after a conversation in real life, etc. And based on those percentages, you have like how many approaches you need to make per day or per week to get the desired amount of dates and amount of women in the next 30 days, whatever. So yeah, this is just to reverse engineer everything, okay? So I'm not going to spend more time on this. To measure, and there you have the IRR, or this is CCR, so the conversion rate or initial response rate for after a DM, and then the DCR, and then the SCR, and then you have the metrics and everything, okay? So now let's talk about the final step of this module. We're gonna talk about how to make Instagram a part of your routine. So here's the thing. You're probably a guy who has either a business or who has a demanding career. And you need to be extremely cautious with your time management, because if you're not careful, Instagram will make you waste a ton of time and is gonna destroy your productivity. So here's how you use Instagram the correct way. Number one, you wanna turn off all the fucking notifications, like turn off everything. So you go on your settings on your iPhone, okay? And in the settings, you type in Instagram. And if you have Android, it's the same thing. You go to the settings, you search your app. And then on the app setting, you turn off all the banners, all the sounds, all the little notifications that pop up when your iPhone is closed, like everything, okay? You gotta have control over your dopamine. So don't become the bitch of Instagram. Don't become its bitch, okay? And also, highly recommend stop checking Instagram stories and Instagram reels as much as you can. I know that's hard to do. It's easier said than done, but try to really limit that, okay? And also, if you can, mute 90% of the useless stories and posts you're exposed to. So what I would do actually is that if I see that someone posts something that I don't necessarily resonate with or that I don't want to see anymore, I just mute them. I don't unfollow them, especially if it's a friend I've known for a while, because I don't want to hurt their feelings and then they see that I've unfollowed them. Like, I mean, if they follow me and we're friends, like I don't want to unfollow them, but I'm going to mute them though, because I don't want to see their fucking stuff, right? Upload photos that show your lifestyle. Don't post photos just for your own enjoyment. Post photos to convey a certain perception and to craft your personal brand the right way. Each photo needs to be purposeful. Each photo needs to fit within the personal brand you want to create. So remember that social media is like your social resume, and now you gotta adapt and really play the game right and just turn off all the notifications. And what I would do is I would set specific times to go on Instagram and do the fucking work and get out of it ASAP. Because otherwise, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start watching other people's reels and stories and posts, and you're going to start comparing yourself to other people's lives, and it's going to get very toxic and very unproductive. So from now on, you want to dedicate between 20 to 30 minutes per day on Instagram, or if you don't want to do it every day, if you don't want to do it consistently daily, then do it weekly. Just batch it on one day or two during the week, and do 2-3 hours a week on Instagram. And even dating apps, you can, this whole online system basically, dedicate 2-3 hours a week to this online system, 20 to 30 minutes a day, okay? And you're gonna use that time to post what you gotta post, to DM new girls, to follow up, to post stories, to do everything, basically. And you're gonna use that time to generate leads and to improve your digital presence, your digital footprint, right? So stop swiping for hours on dating apps and all of that, and just adopt this routine. Now, if you're gonna use dating apps, use them intelligently. For example, Tinder, use it only to generate leads, the way I'm gonna show you, and maybe pay for Tinder Gold. That way, you can basically see who liked you, and you don't need to swipe endlessly, right? It's still good to swipe, because then you can find new women, new Instagrams, because a lot of women are going to put their Instagram in their bio. That's why I use Tinder sometimes. Anyways, here's the Instagram Playboy routine. So number one, you got to find new leads efficiently using the method that I'm going to show you. So that's the first step. Second step, posting high quality pictures. Actually, that should be the first step, because without having the right pictures, I mean, you can still find leads, etc., but you gotta post first and have a profile that's optimized before you start reaching out to new girls. So this is the Playboy routine, okay, for Instagram. Finding new leads weekly or daily through the method I'm gonna show you. Posting high quality pictures a few times per week or per month in the beginning, and then less, because you don't need to update your profile all the time, guys. Like, once you have a minimum viable profile, as I say, like a minimum viable profile is basically minimum like 6 to 12 pictures, a few stories, a minimum bio, a profile picture, a few followers. Once you have that, you don't need to post every week on Instagram. Like now I post maybe once a month on Instagram. So yeah, you don't need to update it constantly. It's like a shopping window. You just have a shopping window. Yes, you can refresh the shopping window every once in a while, every few weeks, but you don't need to once you have that shopping window, And what you can do is you can feed your profile with cool stories as well, a couple times a week. So when you're out and about, when you're in a cool restaurant, when you're in doing cool activities, you can just take stories and then post them. That way you keep people in the loop, and you nurture your existing audience, or the girls who already follow you. And then you gotta dedicate time to text and reply to new girls. That's gonna take you maybe 20-30 minutes per day, or 1-2 hours per week. And then you gotta dedicate time to set up your dates, because once you have girls interested, once you DM them, then you gotta set up the dates, you gotta set up the logistics of the date, like where you're gonna meet, when, etc., and follow up on that and reconfirm with the girls. That's gonna take you a solid maybe 30 minutes per week, depending on how many girls you're dating per week. And then also maybe sometimes you dedicate a bit of time to following up with all the girls that you talked with in the past, or keep old girls in the loop, like girls you previously dated. So this is kind of the activities you're going to do on a weekly, daily basis. I mean, you don't need to post daily, that's for sure. Like, especially pictures, like you can post, once you have like a baseline, I would say 6 to 9 great pictures. You can update your Instagram even once a month, once every 2 months, with like a new carousel or a new picture. But in the beginning, you're going to do it more, because if you have 0 pictures, then you need to build it quicker. But then it's okay. So yeah, that's the routine. Like finding new leads, posting content, texting and replying girls, setting up dates, following up with old previous girls that you've already dated, all of that. Anything else other than that is just a pure waste of your time, period. Okay. And if you're running your business on Instagram, of course, you can have other activities, like you're going to produce content, talk to prospects, maybe run ads, etc. But focus on productive things only, okay? and try to cut off the noise. Now, to be able to focus more and to control your screen time, there's two great apps that you can use. The first one is Opal. It's a really great app. You can use the free version, but if you pay, you're gonna have way more restrictions and it's gonna allow you to focus more. So Opal, amazing app. And another app is OneSec. This is gonna allow you to focus more because anytime, basically when you set up OneSec, you can choose specific apps like Instagram. And whenever you open Instagram, you're gonna have like a pop-up like, hey, 1 sec, are you sure you wanna go on Instagram? Well, first, you gotta breathe for 10 seconds before you go on that app. And then make sure that's the right thing you wanna do. And basically, it's gonna allow you to have like kind of a pop-up before the app opens that allows you to reflect like, am I doing this out of addiction just because I want some dopamine, or am I purposefully doing this because I want to produce something right now? And this allows you to kind of like take a step back, like 1 sec, pause. Do you really want to do this? And then if you really want to go on Instagram, you can go on Instagram, but there's also ways to actually set up so that you can't go on Instagram. Like literally you're like blocked for a certain amount of time to go there. Like there's ways to set like hardcore restrictions on your screen time. So you check out these apps, use them. Opal, OneSec, those are great apps if you want to really control your screen time and not like fall for unproductive tasks on Instagram. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this first module, and now let's get into the other video where I'm going to show you how to set up your profile the right way. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you seriously want to take your dating life to the next level and you want to have the right systems to get there, you want to understand exactly what to do and how to do it, and understand pretty much all the pieces of the puzzle to be able to attract, date, and retain high quality women consistently for the rest of your life, then check out the link in the description. There's a video that explains exactly how you can get there, and there's a link to book a call with myself or my team so we can show you exactly how to implement that into your life ASAP. So click the link in the description right now, book your call. It's completely free. We have only limited spots each week, and if you're serious about leveling up your dating life, then this is the time. Let's crush it.